The theater lights dim, the crowd buzzes with restless energy, and before anything even happens, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard a voice so powerful it makes you stop breathing for a second? A voice that feels like it's coming from another time, another soul? If you believe music can change lives, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me till the end, because what happens next is something the judges, the audience, and millions watching at home will never forget. Backstage, standing alone near a concrete wall painted with peeling stars, is a slim Filipino man in his early 30s. His name is Miguel Santos. He's wearing a simple black suit, slightly worn at the cuffs, with a white shirt he ironed himself in a tiny apartment the night before. His hair is neatly combed back, classic and old school, almost like he stepped out of another era. In his hands, he holds a small silver ring, his father's ring, the only thing he brought from home. Miguel closes his eyes and breathes deeply, because this stage is not just a stage for him. It's a final test of a dream that started when he was a barefoot boy singing Elvis songs in the narrow streets of Manila. Miguel grew up in a crowded neighborhood where dreams were often replaced by survival. His father was a construction worker who loved Elvis Presley more than anything. Every Sunday, their old radio would crackle with static, and then that legendary voice would fill their tiny home. Miguel's father would smile, tap his foot, and tell him, "Anak, this voice came from the heart. If you sing, sing like your life depends on it." When Miguel was 16, his father passed away suddenly, leaving behind silence, unpaid bills, and a dream that felt impossible. Miguel stopped singing for years. Life became about working long hours, helping his mother, and pushing music into a quiet corner of his soul. But some dreams refused to die. Late at night, after exhausting shifts, Miguel would sing softly to himself. Elvis songs became his escape, his comfort, and his connection to his father. Friends told him his voice was different, special, but Miguel never believed he belonged on a big stage. Then one day, his mother handed him the old ring and said, "Your father believed in you even when you don't. Go. Sing." That was the moment Miguel auditioned for America's Got Talent, not to become famous, but to finally honor the promise he made to himself and to the man who first taught him what music meant. Now, his name is called. Miguel walks onto the AGT stage, the spotlight blinding, the audience clapping politely but without expectation. The judges smile, curious but cautious. Simon raises an eyebrow. "What's your name, and where are you from?" Miguel's voice trembles slightly as he answers, "My name is Miguel Santos. I'm from the Philippines." When asked what he does, he pauses, then says quietly, "I work wherever I can, but today, I sing." Simon leans forward. "And what are you hoping happens today?" Miguel looks up, eyes shining. "I hope my father can hear me." Then the music starts. The first note leaves his mouth, and the room changes. It's deep, rich, and hauntingly familiar. Gasps ripple through the audience. Within seconds, the judges' expressions shift from curiosity to disbelief. Miguel doesn't imitate Elvis, he channels him. The warmth, the control, the raw emotion, it's all there, but it's also undeniably his own. His voice carries decades of love, loss, and longing. People in the crowd wipe tears from their eyes. Some stand without realizing it. Even Simon's skeptical stare softens, his jaw slightly open. As the song builds, Miguel closes his eyes, gripping the microphone like it's the last thing holding him together. For a moment, it feels like he's no longer on a competition stage but back in that small home, singing for his father. When he hits the final note, the silence lasts just a fraction of a second, then the theater explodes. The audience rises to their feet, cheering, screaming, clapping as if they've just witnessed history. The judges stand too. One of them whispers, "That was unreal." Simon finally speaks. "I've heard a lot of Elvis voices over the years. Most of them are fine. But you? You have something rare. That wasn't just a performance. That was a moment." Another judge adds, "You didn't just sing a song. You told a story, and we felt every second of it." Miguel's eyes fill with tears. He nods, unable to speak. Then comes the moment no one expects. One judge reaches for the golden buzzer. The crowd holds its breath. Miguel, she says, this voice deserves to be heard by the world. She slams the buzzer. Golden confetti rains down like a dream. Miguel drops to his knees, overwhelmed, crying openly as the audience roars. In that instant, the years of struggle, doubt, and silence fade away. He looks up, smiling through tears, whispering, "This is for you, Papa." As Miguel walks off stage, embraced by strangers who now feel like family, one thing becomes clear: this wasn't just about talent. It was about courage. About believing that where you come from does not limit where you can go. About honoring those who believed in you when no one else did. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like Miguel's remind us why dreams matter. Somewhere right now, someone is singing quietly, thinking their voice doesn't matter. Tonight proved that sometimes, one song is all it takes to change everything. Before you scroll away, let me ask you this: what if the greatest voice you've never heard is about to change everything in just a few minutes? What if one performance is so shocking that even the toughest judges forget how to breathe? Stay with me till the very end, and if stories like this inspire you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this moment proves dreams don't have an expiration date. When the host calls his name, most people in the audience don't react. Rafael Cruz. Just another contestant, they think. A man in his mid-30s walks onto the AGT stage wearing a simple navy blue jacket, black trousers, and polished shoes that look borrowed rather than bought. His posture is respectful, almost shy. His hair is neatly slicked back, old-fashioned, and his eyes carry the weight of someone who has lived more life than luck. He smiles softly at the judges, but his hands tremble. This stage is brighter than anything he has ever known. Rafael is from a small coastal town in the Philippines, where music was never a career, it was a comfort. As a child, he used to sit beside his grandmother's old cassette player, listening to Elvis Presley tapes that had been passed down like family heirlooms. The house was always noisy, always crowded, but when Elvis played, everything slowed down. Rafael would copy every note, every breath, not knowing he was training his voice, only knowing it made his grandmother smile. "You sing like you understand pain," she once told him. He didn't know what that meant then. He knows now. Life didn't turn out gentle. Rafael grew up fast. He worked early, sang late, and buried his dreams under responsibility. When his grandmother passed away, the music stopped. Singing reminded him too much of what he lost. Years went by. He moved from job to job, country to country, chasing survival instead of passion. America's Got Talent was never part of the plan. He applied on a dare from a coworker, never believing he'd make it past the first audition, let alone stand under these lights. Simon leans forward. "So, Rafael, why AGT?" Rafael swallows hard. "Because I spent most of my life afraid to be heard." The audience quiets. Another judge asks what he'll be singing. He answers simply, "An Elvis song. For my grandmother." The music begins, slow, familiar. The first note comes out, and instantly, something shifts. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's controlled, deep, and heartbreakingly honest. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. By the second line, people are leaning forward. By the chorus, jaws are dropping. Rafael doesn't just sound like Elvis, he carries the soul of the song in a way that feels timeless. His voice wraps around the melody like memory itself. As he sings, his eyes close, and for a moment, the stage disappears. He is a little boy again, sitting on a tiled floor, listening to a cassette tape rewind. His voice cracks, not from weakness, but from truth. The audience feels it. A woman in the front row wipes her eyes. One of the judges whispers, "Oh my God." Even Simon, known for his cold honesty, looks stunned. The final note hangs in the air, trembling, then fades into silence. For half a second, no one moves. Then the theater erupts. The crowd explodes to its feet, applause crashing like waves. The judges stand instantly. One of them claps above her head, shaking it in disbelief. "That voice," she says, "doesn't belong to this era. It belongs to the world." Simon pauses before speaking, and when he does, his tone is serious. You didn't come here to compete. You came here to remind us why music matters. Raphael's eyes fill with tears. He bows slightly, overwhelmed, whispering thank you again and again. When the golden buzzer is pressed, the sound hits him like thunder. Gold confetti rains down, and Raphael covers his face, breaking down completely. He's waited his whole life for permission to believe in himself, and it finally came. As he walks off stage, shaking, smiling, crying all at once, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Talent is everywhere. Opportunity is not. Sometimes all it takes is one brave step onto a stage and one song sung from the heart to change a lifetime of silence into a moment the world will never forget. If this story touched you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Because somewhere right now, someone is doubting their gift, just like Raphael did. And their G. Before anything else, let me ask you this: have you ever witnessed a moment so shocking that time itself seems to pause? A moment where a single voice turns doubt into disbelief and silence into thunder? If you love stories that hit the heart and stay with you long after the video ends, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch till the very last second, because what you're about to hear is pure magic. When the curtains open on the America's Got Talent stage, no one expects much from the man walking out. He's in his late 30s, Filipino, wearing a simple dark blazer and a white shirt with no tie. His shoes are clean but clearly old. His hair is carefully slicked back, not stylish, respectful. His name is Daniel Reyes. He smiles nervously, waves to the crowd, and stands still under the spotlight like he's unsure whether he belongs there. The applause is polite, uncertain. The judges lean back in their chairs. They've seen thousands like him, or so they think. Daniel's journey didn't begin with fame or confidence. It began in a cramped apartment in Cebu, where walls were thin and dreams were thinner. His mother worked overseas most of his childhood, and his father drove a jeepney to keep food on the table. At night, when exhaustion filled the room, Daniel's father would play Elvis Presley songs on an old, scratched CD player. That music was the only luxury they had. Daniel learned every word, every note, not because he wanted to perform, but because singing made the loneliness disappear. As years passed, reality grew heavier. Daniel was told again and again that singing was not a future. Nice hobby, people said. But be serious. He worked construction jobs, delivery shifts, anything that paid. His father passed away quietly one rainy evening, and with him went Daniel's courage. For nearly 10 years, Daniel didn't sing in front of anyone. The voice that once filled rooms became something he hid, like a secret too fragile to share. It was his younger sister who pushed him. She found an old recording of Daniel singing Elvis when he was 19 and played it back to him. "Kuya," she said, "this voice doesn't deserve silence." Submitting an AGT audition felt ridiculous to him, but also necessary. Like closing a chapter he never finished. Back on stage, Simon asks, "Daniel, why are you here?" Daniel pauses, swallowing hard. "Because I spent most of my life being afraid, and I don't want to be afraid anymore." The audience quiets. When asked what he'll sing, Daniel answers simply, "Elvis Presley. For my father." The music begins slowly. The first note hits, and the entire atmosphere changes. It's not just that Daniel sounds like Elvis. It's that his voice carries something deeper: weight, pain, history. A rich baritone fills the theater, smooth yet trembling with emotion. Conversations stop. Phones lower. People lean forward. By the time he reaches the second verse, one judge's eyes widen. Another whispers, "That's impossible." Daniel's voice doesn't copy a legend, it resurrects one, wrapped in raw humanity. As the song builds, Daniel closes his eyes. His hands shake slightly, but his voice never does. Every lyric feels lived in, like a confession rather than a performance. The audience feels it. You can hear sniffles. Someone in the crowd presses their hands to their mouth. Even Simon, known for his brutal honesty, sits frozen, staring straight ahead. When Daniel reaches the final note, he holds it, not to show off, but because letting go feels too soon. The sound fades slowly, gently, like a goodbye. Silence. A heartbeat passes. Then the room erupts. The audience jumps to their feet in a roaring standing ovation. Cheers crash into each other. The judges stand instantly. One of them shakes their head in disbelief. "That voice," she says, "comes from a place you cannot fake." Simon finally speaks, his voice calm but serious. "I've waited years to hear something this authentic. You didn't perform, you transported us." Daniel breaks. Tears roll down his face as he bows his head, overwhelmed. He whispers thank you, barely able to stand. And then, gold explodes from above. The golden buzzer slams, showering him in light and confetti. Daniel drops to his knees, hands covering his face, crying openly as the crowd chants his name. In that moment, he isn't a worker, or a doubter, or a man who waited too long. He is exactly where he was always meant to be. As Daniel walks off stage, smiling through tears, one truth becomes clear: talent is universal, but belief is rare. And sometimes, all it takes is one voice, one song, one brave step forward to remind the world, and yourself, who you really are. If this story inspired you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Because somewhere out there, someone is holding their gift in silence, just waiting for the courage to let it be heard. And that moment could change everything. Musical notes sparkles before this story even begins. Let me ask you something: have you ever seen a room full of experts completely forget who they are because of one voice? A voice so powerful it doesn't just impress, it awakens something inside everyone listening? If moments like that move you, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay until the very end, because this performance didn't just shock the judges, it rewrote a man's destiny. The audience barely notices when the next contestant walks onto the America's Got Talent stage. He's Filipino, late 30s, average height, wearing a modest charcoal suit that fits well but looks carefully preserved, like it's only worn on special days. His shoes shine under the lights, but his hands tremble slightly as he grips the microphone. His hair is slicked back in a classic style that feels almost out of place in a modern talent show. His name is Leo Navarro, and at this moment, no one in the room expects history. Leo grew up in a small town where the ocean breeze carried both hope and hardship. His family didn't have much, just enough to get by. His mother sold food at the local market. His father worked long hours repairing boats. At night, when the world finally slowed down, his father would play Elvis Presley records on an old turntable. The sound wasn't perfect, but it didn't matter. That voice filled their home with warmth. Leo would sit quietly, listening, memorizing every note, not knowing that one day those songs would become his lifeline. As Leo grew older, life demanded practicality. Singing didn't pay bills. Dreams didn't put food on the table. People praised his voice but told him to be realistic. So he stopped singing in public. He took whatever jobs he could find, sometimes overseas, sometimes far from family. Years passed. The music stayed inside him, trapped, like something unfinished. Then his father passed away suddenly, and the silence that followed was unbearable. Leo realized he had spent most of his life hiding the one thing that made him feel alive. Submitting an audition for AGT felt ridiculous. He almost didn't show up. Standing backstage, he nearly turned around and left. But he remembered his father's words: if you sing, sing like it's your last chance. That thought carried him forward. On stage, Simon asks the usual question. "Leo, what do you do?" Leo smiles softly. "I work, many things. But my heart is in music." Another judge asks why he chose this show. Leo pauses, his voice tight. "Because I waited too long to believe in myself." The room grows quiet. When asked what he'll sing, he answers without hesitation. Elvis Presley. The music starts. The first note comes out, and the energy in the theater shifts instantly. It's deep, warm, controlled. A ripple moves through the audience. By the second line, people are staring. By the chorus, disbelief spreads across the judges' faces. Leo doesn't just sound like Elvis, he carries the emotion, the vulnerability, the soul. It's not imitation. It's embodiment. Every lyric feels earned, lived through, carried across years of silence. Leo closes his eyes as he sings, completely unaware of the reaction around him. His voice rises and falls with quiet confidence, filled with longing and strength. One judge leans forward, hand over her mouth. Another whispers, "This can't be real." Simon doesn't move at all. He just listens, eyes locked on the stage. As the song reaches its climax, Leo's voice trembles, not from fear, but from truth. It's the sound of a man finally letting himself be heard. The final note stretches into the air, rich and haunting, then fades. Silence. A heartbeat. Then the room explodes. The audience leaps to their feet, applause crashing like thunder. Cheers echo through the theater. The judges stand instantly. One of them says, almost breathless, "That voice has waited a lifetime to be heard." Simon finally speaks, his tone unusually calm. "I've heard thousands of singers. Very few make you feel something real. You did that." Leo's eyes fill with tears. He bows his head, overwhelmed, whispering thank you again and again. And then, the golden buzzer slams. Gold rains down from above, surrounding him in light. Leo drops to his knees, sobbing openly as the crowd roars. Years of doubt, sacrifice, and silence dissolve in that single moment. As Leo walks off the stage, smiling through tears, one truth becomes impossible to ignore: talent doesn't disappear when ignored. It waits. And when courage finally meets opportunity, even the quietest dream can shake the world. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because somewhere right now, someone is holding back their gift, believing it's too late. And tonight proves it never is. Glowing Star Musical Notes. Before this story truly begins, pause for a second and ask yourself, what if the voice that could change everything is standing quietly in the shadows, ignored, underestimated, and moments away from giving up? If stories like that inspire you, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me until the very end, because this performance didn't just surprise the judges, it shocked the world. The stage lights flare on, and a Filipino man in his early 40s walks out alone. His name is Victor Malaya. He's wearing a plain black jacket, a white shirt buttoned all the way up, and dark trousers that look carefully pressed. His hair is combed back in a classic style, streaked slightly with gray. There's nothing flashy about him. No dramatic entrance. Just a quiet man holding a microphone, standing in front of 4 judges who have seen thousands of hopeful faces. The applause is polite, uncertain. No one expects what's coming. Victor's life has been a long road of almosts. Almost famous. Almost noticed. Almost brave enough. He grew up in a modest home in Quezon City, where electricity sometimes went out and dreams were spoken softly. His mother sang while cooking. His father loved Elvis Presley more than any artist in the world. Every evening, after a long day of work, his father would play Elvis records and close his eyes like he was somewhere else. Victor learned to sing by copying those songs, not to perform, but to feel close to his father. As a teenager, Victor's voice was already special. Teachers told him he should pursue music, but reality was louder than encouragement. His father fell ill. Medical bills piled up. Singing didn't pay for medicine. Victor took factory jobs, night shifts, anything that kept the family afloat. Music became something he did quietly, alone, late at night when no one could hear him fail. Years passed. His father died without ever seeing Victor on a stage. That loss hardened something inside him. Victor convinced himself that dreams were for the young, not for men with responsibilities and regrets. He got married, had children, and built a life that looked stable from the outside, but inside, there was a silence that never went away. It was his daughter who changed everything. One night, she heard him singing Elvis softly in the kitchen. She stood frozen, listening. The next day, she showed him a video of America's Got Talent auditions and said, "Papa, if you don't try, you'll regret it forever." Victor laughed it off. But the words stayed. Weeks later, without telling anyone, he submitted an audition. Now he stands under the brightest lights of his life. Simon asks, "Victor, why did you come here today?" Victor takes a deep breath. "Because I waited too long to be brave." The audience grows quiet. Another judge asks what he'll sing. Victor's voice is steady but emotional. Elvis Presley. "For My Father." The music begins, soft, familiar. The first note leaves Victor's mouth, and everything changes. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's rich, deep, and filled with emotion that can't be taught. A wave of surprise moves through the audience. By the second verse, people are leaning forward. By the chorus, disbelief is written across the judges' faces. Victor's voice doesn't imitate Elvis, it revives him, carrying both power and vulnerability. Every word feels personal, like a confession shared with thousands. Victor closes his eyes, singing not to impress but to remember. His voice trembles slightly, carrying decades of love, loss, and restraint. The audience feels it. You can hear quiet sobs. One judge wipes away a tear. Simon doesn't interrupt. He just listens. The final note hangs in the air, full and aching, then fades into silence. For a moment, no one speaks. Then the entire theater erupts. A standing ovation explodes from the crowd. Cheers echo off the walls. The judges rise to their feet instantly. One of them says, stunned, "That voice has lived a lifetime." Simon finally speaks, his voice serious. "You didn't come here to compete. You came here to remind us that real talent doesn't age." Victor's composure breaks. Tears stream down his face as he bows his head. He whispers thank you over and over, barely able to stand. Then the golden buzzer is slammed. Gold confetti rains down like a miracle. Victor drops to his knees, shaking, crying openly as the audience roars his name. In that moment, all the years of silence, sacrifice, and fear dissolve. He looks upward through the falling gold and smiles, knowing his father would be proud. As Victor walks off the stage, one truth becomes impossible to ignore: dreams don't disappear because time passes. They wait. And when courage finally meets opportunity, even the quietest voice can shake the world. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because somewhere right now, someone believes it's too late to chase their dream. And this moment proves it never is. Glowing star musical notes before the judges even say a word, before a single note is sung, something strange happens in the theater. The audience grows quiet not because they're told to, but because the man walking onto the stage carries a stillness that demands attention. And before we go any further, if you believe moments like this deserve to be remembered, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay until the very end, because what unfolds here is not just a performance. It's a life finally being heard. His name is Aaron Delgado. He's Filipino, 27 years old, and dressed in a simple cream-colored jacket over a black shirt. Nothing flashy. No dramatic confidence. His hair is styled neatly, almost respectfully, and his eyes look calm, but tired, like someone who has spent years convincing himself not to hope too much. The judges smile politely. They've seen this look before. Another dreamer. Another singer. Aaron's story begins far from bright lights and applause. He grew up in a small town where evenings were quiet and opportunities were limited. His mother worked 2 jobs. His father was rarely home. Music entered Aaron's life through an old DVD player and a scratched Elvis Presley disc someone had left behind years earlier. When Aaron pressed play for the first time, he didn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. That voice felt strong and lonely at the same time. It felt familiar. As a teenager, Aaron sang everywhere except in front of people. In his room. In the shower. On long walks home. Singing made him feel seen, even when no one was watching. But every time he shared his dream, someone laughed gently and said, "Be realistic." Music became something he loved quietly, like a secret he wasn't allowed to say out loud. After high school, life hit hard. Aaron worked long hours, sent money home, and watched years slip by. He tried talent shows once or twice and failed early. Each rejection made his voice feel smaller. Eventually, he stopped trying. The only time he sang Elvis was late at night, when the world was asleep and no one could judge him. Then one night, scrolling mindlessly on his phone, Aaron watched a clip from America's Got Talent. A stranger on stage. One song. A life changed. Something in Aaron snapped, not loudly, but clearly. He realized he was more afraid of regret than failure. He applied, not expecting anything. When the call came, he almost didn't answer. Now he stands on the AGT stage. Simon asks, "Aaron, why are you here today?" Aaron exhales slowly. "Because I spent years telling myself I wasn't enough." The audience shifts. Another judge asks what he'll sing. Aaron answers without hesitation. Elvis Presley. Because his music helped me survive. The music starts. The first note leaves Aaron's mouth and disbelief spreads instantly. It's smooth. Deep. Controlled. A voice that sounds far older than his years, carrying a weight that can't be learned. The audience gasps. One judge's eyebrows shoot up. By the second line, the room is locked in. Aaron doesn't mimic Elvis, he honors him. His voice carries vulnerability, strength, and something painfully honest. It feels like listening to someone finally speak the truth after years of silence. As Aaron sings, his shoulders relax. The fear melts away. This is where he belongs. The crowd feels it. You can hear sniffles. A woman in the audience presses her hand to her chest. The judges stop taking notes. Simon doesn't blink. When Aaron reaches the chorus, his voice lifts, not louder, but fuller. Confident. Free. The sound fills the theater like a memory coming back to life. And when he holds the final note, it's steady, unwavering, fearless. Silence follows. Not awkward silence. Respectful silence. Then the eruption. The audience jumps to its feet, applause crashing through the room. Cheers echo from every corner. The judges stand instantly. One of them shakes her head, smiling through tears. That voice, she says, comes from someone who has lived through things. Simon finally speaks. You didn't come here to prove anything. You came here ready. Aaron's eyes fill with tears. He covers his mouth, overwhelmed, nodding again and again. And then, the golden buzzer is hit. Gold confetti rains down like a second chance. Aaron collapses to his knees, laughing and crying at the same time. Years of doubt break apart in one shining moment. He looks up into the falling gold, shaking his head in disbelief, knowing his life will never be the same. As he walks off stage, one truth rings louder than any applause: talent doesn't vanish when ignored. It waits. And when courage finally meets opportunity, even a quiet voice can become unforgettable. If this story moved you, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Because somewhere right now, someone is holding back their gift, thinking it's not enough. And this moment proves it always was. Musical notes sparkles.